And good morning, everybody. We are back live here at the Birdhouse. We are in early, kind of mid-September, and fall migration is in full swing. So we'll give you an update on some of the backyard birds that you might be seeing or not seeing in your backyards. We'll give you we'll share some photos here that you guys have sent in. And as always, you can say hi in the comments. If you have any questions, you can put them in there as well. And definitely let us know what kind of things you are seeing. If you are local to the area, we do have some events coming up this weekend, including this week, actually. We do have our photo contest that is still going on. That will run through the 21st, so you still have some time to drop off photos. You can check out all of the rules and information about that on our website, which is thebirdhouseny.com. Also, this Saturday, we have a native plant sale with Amanda's Garden, which is always super, super popular. That is starting at 9. I would get here early for that. She tends to run out of things, but that sale will go from 9 till noon. And then also we've got Wild Wings bringing their pileated woodpecker here from 11 to 1 on Saturday. So lots and lots of fun stuff. And we'll also be live with a broadcast on Saturday as well. But personally, I have not been live. We've been doing rebroadcasts because I was on a little road trip for about a week, going out towards Maine, and got some nice photographs here of some of the landscape on the way. Here's a couple pictures from Mount Washington, the tallest mountain in the east. Took a drive up of Mount Washington, and then ultimately ended up in Maine at Acadia National Park. And this was the view from Cadillac Mountain. So did a lot of fun outdoorsy stuff. Didn't come in contact with a lot of their wildlife out there like moose, but I did see a moose footprint while on a hike one day. This is a very bad photo of it, but there wasn't some nice big moose footprints in the soil on one of the hikes, but didn't come in contact with any of the large wildlife on land there. But I did take a whale watch out of Bar Harbor and got to see humpback whale. We even saw, this is a very strange looking picture, but this is what's called an ocean sunfish. And this is an angle from the boat. And this dark part here is one of its fins. The other fin is under the water. It's a really strange looking creature. This is what it looks like from a different view in the water, but when it was on the surface, it was just kind of flopping around. Really kind of interesting looking creature there. So got to see some nice oceanic creatures, but then there were also things like the harbor seals, lots of harbor seals poking their heads out, and of course, birds. Got to see quite a few birds from the boat, and actually, I saw more birds on the whale watching boat than I did while hiking, and some of the pelagic species, if you will, those open water species that we got to see from the boat were things like this. This is a northern gannet. There were also a lot of what are called storm petrels. Wilson storm petrels were one of them out there. But lots of little storm petrels out there, and even puffin. Got to see some Atlantic puffin. Here is one that was running across the surface of the water, about ready to take off. This is a juvenile, and a little blurry, kind of a distant photo there of an adult Atlantic puffin. And then things like we have here, common tern, were also common out there on the water. But as far as backyards go right now, we're still getting a few scattered reports of orioles. For the most part, though, they are on their way down south, so you probably won't see much more oriole activity in your backyard. That being said, we do have several customers that are still getting orioles. These aren't the orioles that have been in their yards all season. Most likely they are orioles that are migrating down from further up north through the area right now. So the odds are your orioles that you had all season long aren't sticking around. They are on the move. They have already left, but there are birds that were further up north and they're making their migration down, and all along that migratory route they will stop at bird feeders. So you don't have to worry about if you keep your feeders up, it will keep the birds from migrating. That is a common question we get all the time. the birds know what to do. It is in their instincts and intuition to migrate. So you don't have to worry that keeping your feeders out will keep them from migrating. That's not the case at all. In fact, it can give them extra calories that they need in order to make that migration down south successfully. So you can absolutely keep your feeders out. Usually we say keep your feeders out while you're still seeing the birds, of course. And if it's been about a week since, say, you've seen an oriole, it's time to take down that oriole feeder. You probably won't see any more. Same with the hummingbirds. People are still getting quite a few hummingbirds, whereas the orioles are usually here through early September, and then we'll have scattered reports throughout the month. Hummingbirds are really here through September, and then we'll get scattered reports of them even through October. Even last week when I was up as far north as Maine, saw a whole bunch of hummingbirds there in the gardens. So they are still up north and they are migrating through. So expect to see hummingbirds in your yard for the rest of the month. If you're getting them now, you'll probably get them throughout the rest of the month. So keep those hummingbird feeders out definitely. And just like the orioles, it won't keep them from migrating. They are getting the calories that they need to migrate, both from feeders and from plants like these cardinal flowers here. They are consuming what they need in order to build up mass and to continue their migration south. So you can keep those feeders full. You don't have to feel guilty like you're keeping them from going south. We're also getting lots of reports of things like grackles and red-winged blackbirds at feeders. And although we have some grackles that are here all year round, and you might see them at your winters or at your feeders even in the winter. For the most part, they do go further south for the winter. If you are having a lot of grackles or red-winged blackbirds at your feeders right now, you can always put out safflower seed. They really don't like safflower seed, and other birds like cardinals and finches really like it, but the blackbirds don't eat it so much. So if you're trying to not go through so much seed, if they're eating a lot of your black oil sunflower seed or your seed blends, you can always go to the safflower seed. It's not their favorite, and they tend to leave the feeders alone if it's full of just safflower. There's lots of migration going on too right now. So not only are you seeing it in your backyard with things like the blackbirds and the hummingbirds, and maybe even those orioles still passing through, there's lots of fall warblers coming through. So you might see mixed flocks of chickadees and nuthatches mixed in with a whole bunch of warblers. They're kind of popping around on the trees. They're not going to be as loud and singing like they are in the spring. But there's lots of them around. They are migrating south for the winter. And we've got some photos that were sent in here from Mark from Montezuma. Things like this common gallinule he took a photo of. They'll be here for a little bit longer. Great blue heron. This is a bird, sometimes we do hear about it here in the winter if there is open water. But for the most part, they're going to go a little bit further south where they can find open water for the winter. Same as the great egret. They are more common here in the fall as they are migrating. You can find them both at Montezuma. You can find them by lots of ponds and rivers right now. They are migrating through the area. So look for the great egret, bald eagle. Not necessarily migrating through the area like some of these other birds are. There are some, of course, that are migrating, but then there's a lot that we have here all year round. Same kind of thing like the heron. If there's open water, you can easily find bald eagles here in the wintertime. And then sandhill crane. Here's some cool photo here of a couple sandhill cranes, and they will not be here in the winter, but they're going to go down south in Texas, down in Florida, down in Mexico. You can find some in the wintertime. So they are moving through the area on their way south for the winter. He also sent in some photo here of osprey, another bird you won't find here in the winter months. But this is osprey with its catch. It is catching a fish, and there it is with the fish in its talons. And there's even a great blue heron down there too in the photo. And not only are there things like warblers migrating through, but things like the shorebirds. And this is a spotted sandpiper in its non-breeding plumage. Another photo there sent in by Mark. So it is migration time. keep an eye out in your yard and at your feeders, just like in the spring when you never know what kind of things might show up in your yard. Same as this time of the year, there's lots of little birds migrating through. So keep your cameras close at hand, and if you snap any photos, absolutely send them in. We've got some people on here. Linda says, good morning. Good morning, Linda. Lynn is on, says, I had 2 large male orioles yesterday and have seen one of them fighting with the male cardinal a couple times near the jelly. That was a first. So it sounds like Lynn has some oriole action, and they are hungry, and they are competing. They think at least that they are competing for resources with the cardinal that might be going after the jelly. So that's great to hear you're still getting orioles. Hopefully they'll stick around for a little bit longer, or you'll get more as they are migrating through. But that looks like that's everybody's comments and questions for the day. We will be back on Saturday with another broadcast, and we've got all those fun events going on, the native plant sale, and we'll have the woodpecker here. Of course, it's photo contest time, so you can drop off your photos or you can mail them in to us. And so we've always got some fun stuff going on here at the store. But that is everything we have for you today. We'll be back on Saturday with another broadcast. And until then, have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.